I said I would make this video over a year ago, and then I didn't. That's me. I don't even look like that anymore. Anyways, Japanese shoegaze has always been one of the more popular Japanese music scenes outside of the country, if the view count on that video is any evidence. But there's another kind of subsection of that scene that people don't really talk about over here. It's a lot more niche, and that is Vocaloid shoegaze. There's actually a lot of really cool Vocaloid shoegaze music. So in this video, I am finally gonna take you through 5 Vocaloid shoegaze projects that I love, and hopefully you'll find something new to check out. With these videos, I always like to start with the most famous band or album in the scene, something that if you're interested in the genre, you might have heard of already. And for Vocaloid shoegaze, that is the compilation Mikgazer. Coming out in 2012, while it wasn't the start of the scene, it definitely helped spur it forwards. It's a compilation of songs from 12 different artists, all making mikgaze or Vocaloid shoegaze. It's one of those things that you go into with low expectations and then you come out amazed because it's actually really good. And a lot of that wow factor, at least for me, is the opening track, which is not only the best track on the compilation, but one of the best shoegaze songs I've ever heard in general. It instantly grabs your attention with this stilted melody that sounds like it's being played in reverse. And if you're new to the scene, your attention may then shift to how good Miku sounds in this instrumental. It's this kind of super hazy shoegaze song, but Hatsune Miku, typically used for like energetic pop tracks, still feels right at home. It's something that you kind of don't think would work, but it really does. And there's some other notable artists in the scene on this compilation as well. Wintermute has a song. Their album Stray Light precedes Mikgazer by like 3 years. I'm not gonna call Stray Light the first Vocaloid shoegaze album because I don't know that for sure, but if you know any that came out before March 2009, please let me know because I don't know of any. Their song for the comp is called Alchemy, and it's a loud and upbeat song that feels more like J-rock with added reverb than actual shoegaze. It's still solid though, regardless of that. Naka Noise is also here. Their song for the compilation is a bit iffy, but they would find their footing a couple years later with the album Otome no Inori, which is pretty good. Mikgazer is probably a lot of people's introduction to the fact that Vocaloid shoegaze exists at all. I feel like Mikgazer sometimes gets seen as like a one-off novelty thing, but the scene is a lot deeper than that. So let's go straight into my personal favorite Vocaloid shoegaze album, one that I've talked about before on this channel in a video called My Favorite Vocaloid Shoegaze Album, Nanairo by Remo. It's one of my favorite shoegaze albums, and I think especially with how much of a resurgence in popularity shoegaze has had recently, this is one more people ought to know about. Like, look at the song Soda Floating Polaris. This is way too good to only have like 6,000 plays on Spotify. It's top 3 shoegaze songs I've ever heard, and I've heard a lot of them. It's great. As I've mentioned, I've done a whole video specifically about this album if you really want to dive into what makes it great, but it's one that touches on all different kinds of shoegaze and does them really well. You've got the fast-paced riffs and constant energy of a track like Soda Floating Polaris, right up against the slow whirlwind of Liza Reflected from a Lyre, and they're both amazing. And unlike a lot of Vocaloid shoegaze, this doesn't feel like Vocaloid pop that's just had some reverb added on. It's really, really well-produced shoegaze regardless of who's singing. It's an instant classic in not just this admittedly niche scene, but in all of shoegaze, and is something that I personally really love. Next up, let's talk about another one of the artists who first really got me into Vocaloid shoegaze, Kinoue64. He is a very prolific artist who releases things constantly, but I want to focus on one album of his in particular, that being Space, Circumstances, Time, and Events. In contrast to a lot of Vocaloid music, which usually has pretty clean production, a lot of this album, and Kinoue64's music in general, is rougher around the edges, with bedroom guitars and overall a more indie feel. Take my favorite song on that album, called Tomorrow the World Will End. It's a track that feels more like slacker rock, with its rough reverb and washed out guitars. Miku ends up fitting in really well, as Kinoue64 makes her sound more tired and droning than you get on many Vocaloid releases. And the song right after it, After School, On the Way to School, does a really similar thing. It's got a rambling composition that also includes a section where it starts using Miko's voice as if it was a piano melody, and I think that's really cool. Like I said, Kinoue64 makes a lot of music. There is a 7-hour video on YouTube of everything prior to 2022 that he had deleted from his Bandcamp. And that's not counting all the things from prior to 2022 that are still on his Bandcamp. He's also already released 2 albums and 2 EPs just in 2024, and it's September. Though that includes some stuff that isn't Miku and just uses his own voice, which is pretty neat. The issue is that with such a frantic release schedule, you get a bit of inconsistency, but there is definitely some great stuff buried elsewhere in his discography. Like the song End from his 2023 EP, I Want Only You to Listen to It, which blends some really catchy riffs and solos with some very deadpan and monotone singing from Miku. It's 5 minutes, but it's the kind of song that makes you wish it was 10 because of how easy it is to get lost in it. Kinoue64 has some really good stuff, and hey, if you like him, there is pretty much always something new coming out. In these videos, I always like to feature at least one artist who's newer on the scene and coming out with some really good music, and for this video, while I guess Kinoue64 kind of fits that bill, I want to focus on Inuha. Again, another very prolific artist who has released 3 projects in the last 12 months before this video came out, but some of them are really good. So let's lead with my favorite release from them, Namimai, and my favorite song on it, Rain and Darkness. It's a very energetic shoegaze track. It's got a fast-moving breakbeat and this melodic J-rock style of chorus that Inuha does really well. It's really good, but like, so is the whole EP. I think it serves as a good showcase of Inuha's stuff, with a lot of energetic tracks that feel more indebted to Japanese indie rock than any kind of typical Vocaloid music. And they just had an album come out in August 2024 called Hitori Goto that sees them branching out from shoegaze into more of that aforementioned indie rock sound. Bandwagon takes a dream pop style approach, mixing washed out reverby sections with quieter verses, and it's accented by some really bouncy drums that kind of tie the whole track together. It's one of my favorite songs from them. And transitioning a bit from Inuha to the last thing I want to talk about, they had an EP out earlier this year on a label called Siren for Charlotte, which is a very cool label that kind of specializes in this sort of music. Like, go down their list of releases and you see new ones from quite a few artists that we've talked about in this video. There's that Inuha EP, which by the way has a really cool song called Ikitai Tokoro ga Aru. It's sick. Kinoue64 dropped an EP on this label a couple months ago. It was honestly a pretty weird one. It mixed shoegaze with like drum and bass. It was a really unique listen. And then there's stuff that maybe fits into either Vocaloid or shoegaze, but not both, yet is still really good. Like, this is not Vocaloid, but it is really good shoegaze. And this isn't shoegaze, but it's pretty good Vocaloid. But there are also some other Vocaloid shoegaze releases here, like this one that is unfortunately not out yet. Robonouishi is pretty cool, and it comes out like a week after this video is up, so if this video is more than a week old, you can go check it out. There's also this ika-p release that is on the weirder and edgier side of shoegaze. If you put the title into Google Translate, it gives you Diary from Just Before Suicide, so you can kind of tell what the vibe is on that one just from the title. But it's this cool mix of reverb-heavy shoegaze and glitch pop aesthetics that actually turns out pretty well. There's a lot of good stuff on this label. It's one of the very few labels where I like actually keep up with everything they release. Quite a few of the new releases there tend to be from artists that I already like, but it's also a really good way to find new artists that I had never heard of before. I think Siren for Charlotte is definitely worth a Bandcamp follow and worth keeping up with if you are into this kind of Vocaloid shoegaze. So yeah, there's my beginner's guide to mikgaze or Vocaloid shoegaze or whatever you want to call it. If you're interested, I've left a Spotify playlist link and a YouTube playlist link in a pinned comment to a lot of the stuff I talked about in this video. Thank you so much for watching, and sorry this took so long to come out. Love y'all so much. Bye.